the hell do you have on? So
ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Crown series. Today, as always, I think I got a vibe for you guys. Today, the Crown series, for those who just get introduced to it, this is the second in the volume of the Crown series. What I'm doing with the Crown series, 3, 2, 1. Ladies, gentlemen, welcome to the Dry Down. Welcome to a Crown series. Today, as I stated, always, I think I got a vibe for you guys. I want to talk about what is the Crown series, this being the second volume. For those just being introduced to what this is, the Crown series for me is where I talk about in a strategic way to where a specific brand that is kind of the way I like it, the way I see it and perceive it. Not necessarily the best of, because some things come and go as the best of, depending on seasonality for me. But in this moment, in this time, what the Crown series does, it talks about the pieces of a chessboard from the pawn to the king and the way that can be represented in a fragrance collection. I think it's a little fun editorial way to talk about fragrances strategically. And so for me, this one is about that. This one is how fragrances, like chess, is a game of intent. It's a game of movement and a game of transformation. And so when I talk about the Crown series, I want to talk about where each fragrance in this sits in a calculated play on the chessboard, the presence and the personality of a person as well. And so today we're going to open up with the pawn, the silent soldier, and kind of see how that goes. Develop it, who's potentially knows no bounds, as a silent soldier. And we're going to go and rise into the wise and strategic steps of the king. That's just a fun way, like I said, to editorialize that. So the aura defines the outcome in this particular scent profile, from the entry level to the mystique of the apex and the sophistication of a brand. And so in Roja Parfums lineup, it's a very hard choice for me because Roja is, if not my favorite, my second favorite brand in all of perfumery to have in my collection. So let's just talk about the ascension of the pawn to the king. Let this game begin. If this is the type of content you think you'll enjoy, pull up a seat, pour a glass, and of course, let's enhance. Everyone, welcome to the Dry Down, the lifestyle channel where we as enthusiasts aspire to enhance and elevate our olfactive sensory experiences through the understanding of the different aromas, facets, and nuances of scent, cigars, and wines. I'm your host, Chris. Welcome to today's wonderful experience. Like I stated, the chessboard is a strategic play on fragrance to me. And like I said, a fun editorial. So we're going to start out with the pawn fragrance for this one. And this is not just speaking of how least to worst. So these are just really, really phenomenal fragrances, but how they can play in the game. And I'll give a brief description, as I love to do and talk about fragrances, of how they fit in each position that I put them in. And I think the first one I want to talk about in the pawn position, like I said, the silent and powerful position where a pawn can become king. You never know. Let's talk about Creation E or Enigma in the Aoud Parfum version right now. So ladies and gentlemen, first up, like I stated, the pawn. And when you think about it, every king was once a pawn. This is one of those Roja World fragrances, the Creation E, the Enigma. This is about a 10-year-old bottle for me. This is the original 50 mil, the second iteration. At first, everything was 100 mil with the cardboard plackets. Then they came out and introduced to the world the EDP and Parfum versions. This was the EDP version with the gold cap without the studs. They had the resemblance of the studs. Just a really cool presentation. But the scent profile is a super rich, complex, completely magnetic scent profile that it opens up with the cola vibe, like everyone knows, the cola-like sparkle. And then it transitions into this heart of cognac and tobacco, which is one of those fake fragrances that finishes with a grounded amber and vanilla. Just a sexy, phenomenal, accessible, layered, complex fragrance that has all the things you want. When I say accessible, I mean very mainstream, mass appeal, sexy mass appeal. Something that's slightly, let me not say superiorly mass appealing, because there are some people who think that this smells a bit off-putting. And I haven't encountered that. More often than not, people think this is a sexy, ambery fragrance, but I had some people in smelling it said that it was kind of dated to them, which is fine for them. For me, phenomenal. It smells just like a gentleman should smell, especially when going out in evenings and lounges. And so this one, when you wear it has undercurrent and an understatement to it of sophistication while still being fun-loving and flirtatious. This one, you can become lost in a trance when you wear this one, because the sex appeal on this one is just phenomenal. And like I stated, as the pawn, it can always become king. It's one of those fragrances that really just, for me and for people in my age group, this really jumps off the skin and becomes sexy and appealing. You have that cola-like smell with that ambery base that just is phenomenal. So get lost in what it is to have the Eau Parfum version. Right now, you would have to get the Parfum Cologne version, which is kind of an entrenching way to smell this one. Get it in your wheelhouse and sample it. And if you choose to, like I have Creation E, and I'm running low. I'm about 30 mils in. So I have upgraded to the actual new bottle of Enigma. That will be in soon. I know, I think about 2 or 3 days. It's in shipping right now. So I have upgraded this to the new form because I want to save this one. But all in all, when you talk about a fragrance that is meant to be in a top tier of a brand, you cannot go wrong by choosing the scent of Creation E from Roja Parfums. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have the Night. One of the more elusive chess pieces on the board. The Night here, this is the Night. This one just moves. It never moves straight line. It has a very, very awesome strategy to it. This one is a disruptor, a dazzler, the one that leaps and jumps over and bounds, and it just is a fantastic smelling fragrance, especially when we're talking about the editorializing of it as a chess piece. Manhattan does exactly that. It is a sexy, fresh opening with a nice little basil and lavender and coconut scent profile that then crashes into this spicy burst of ginger and clove. Just a phenomenal transition fragrance. And before settling in on the base of tobacco and benzoin and vetiver, it is one of the scents that just has this sex appeal throughout every evocation of the scent, every layer of the scent, every complex development of the scent is just phenomenal. This scent to me is a midnight skyline and confident detours throughout life with bold magnetic feel, just as the scent of Enigma is. It's a very good transition scent when you're either having this in mind or Enigma in mind. You're having a choice which you want to go in. The profile is somewhat of a 20, 30, 40% similarity in its evocation of sex appeal and nightlife. They do maneuver differently, but this one, it maneuvers unpredictably. It's a sexy fragrance, like I said, cocktail hour. Scent profile is tobacco-ish, vanilla, lavender. That's the thing about this one that kind of hints more. This one doesn't have the cola smell, which comes from the lime of Enigma. This one goes into a more aromatic feel from the lavender. But it's the Night. It's unpredictable, it's sexy, and it's phenomenal wearing. I love what Manhattan does. Great scent to go into the Crown series for Roja Parfums. Get your nose on Manhattan Eau de Parfum version if you can. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're starting to get into the heavy hitters, the more strategic point makers when it comes to Roja Parfums and the chess piece. This one here is Amber Aoud, and Amber Aoud is the bishop of the game. This one here moves dialectically, it moves quiet, and it moves calculated, and it always moves with intentionality. It is one of the sexiest, most becoming fragrances that you will ever find on the market, in my opinion. It is one that has the same kind of energy that is mysterious, it is spiritual, and it is sensual, and it pulls that vibe and that aura around you, and it just brings this sex appeal and this ease to you with a great amount of confidence. You get to me this burst of rose, fig, saffron layered over the warm heart of cinnamon and oud, all laid with a foundation of ambergris and civet. The civet is this carnal nature to it with that ambergris that has this smooth Selenic style to it while still being fresh and captivating. This is a scent that just smells so phenomenal. It doesn't shout. It's one of those fragrances that lingers. It comes into a room and envelops the room. It gives the room a great fragrance smell while still making you one to be pinpointed and said that you are smelling the best. When it comes to this particular move, this particular transition, this particular game board, you have to have the bishop as the king's throne keeper. That is Enigma, or not Enigma, but Amber Oud from the house of Roja Parfums. It's a fragrance that has great introspection for a gentleman who is one that wants to blend his aura with the room with force. Just a phenomenal scent, man. If you ever have a chance, get your nose on Amber Aoud. The crystal edition or the main edition are exactly the same. It's just a coloration. This one here is an older bottle, as I've stated once before, of the actual crystal, and it has turned into a golden hue. That's what the formulation has done. It was completely clear when I purchased it, so it shows the quality of the oils that have just come and macerated. and mature together and just become a phenomenal scent. Get your nose on that. That is Roja Parfums Amber Aoud, the Bishop. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, one of my favorite leather fragrances to be produced, man. This is phenomenal. It's the top three of these, the Rook, the Queen, and the King, are very hard fragrances for me to choose from, but I knew I had to put into the compositional standard that I always put forth to give you guys the real. This one here is a little bit harder and difficult for people to maintain as a wearing fragrance because of the high level of the leathery violet in this one. I've heard many things about it as far as that being just too overcoming, and it can be heady. But for me, it's a phenomenal scent because it screams to yesteryear while still having modernity to it. This one here is all about the guarded, the stable, the loyal in a collection. And that what the body and embodiment of Great Britain is to me. It's a noble, resolved type of fragrance. Very smooth, very leathery, even has a nice citrus pop to it when you give it way and let your nose relax around it. It gives into that floral core of rose, jasmine, and violet, but it real power lies in this one is its base, which has that cedarwood, sandal, ambergris, and leather. And so all those accumulate to this very beautiful, gorgeous Russian leather fragrance that I think everybody would be pleased with. Not everyone, I'll take that back. I think that most people who have a mature nose and have a sense of place for fragrances will be pleased with how this leather fragrance appeals to others and appeals to themselves over the wearing. Very complex, great refinement, timeless, immovable. That's what this particular scent profile captivated me. How when I smelled it, to sample it, like I stated when I first talked about it, it smells exactly how fragrances my father would wear, and it is phenomenal wearing. That is Great Britain, the leather bomb for this particular list of the Crown series. Next up, gentlemen, let's talk about the scent du jour, the powerful player, the Queen incarnate, to say the least. The Queen, the most powerful chess piece on the board. This one is elegant strategy with precision. It's seductive. It's Roja's olfactory equivalent to a coronation. This one is the idea of the Queen. Now, don't get me mixed up when I say the Queen. As I stated before, if you know how the Queen moves, the Queen is the most powerful sword maker, sword wielder on the board of chess. This is a luxurious vintage sheeper construction that is combining itself with bergamot, peach, and cumin with a decadent floral heart of rose, jasmine, and heliotrope. The base is a regal feast to my nose of mosses, civet, patchouli, vanilla. The scent just enters the room and it owns it. That's all that you would ever need to know about what the Queen of this chessboard does, and that is what this scent is all about. This is Great Britain from the house of Roja Parfums, the phenomenal Queen of this board. Get your nose on this particular scent because it is one of those fragrances that once you do smell it, you won't want to go back to any other leather that you smell, or sheeper that you smell. I'm sorry, Diaghilev. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, we have arrived at the throne. This one here, with all enthusiasm that you can give a fragrance, the king in this fragrance list is De La Nuit number 3. This is the fragrance that embodies, to me, the shadowed leadership, the commanded cloak, the mystery and life and leadership that it can bring forth. It's just what the chessboard is about. It's spicy, leathery introduction is just sexy. It hits at cumin, it hits at patchouli, it hits at the aromatic base of oud and benzoin with a sexy, thick, like this oily consistency, unctuous consistency of labdanum. It's not for the faint of heart, but it's one of those sexiest fragrances that you and anyone else around you will ever smell. In perfumery, I've yet to come across something that really deliberately transported me to sexy as well as the scent of De La Nuit number 3 has. This is the alpha scent. To me, this is when someone asks me what is one of my top 3 fragrances of all time, this one completely and just always and forever would be in my top 3 fragrances. It's velvet wrapped dominance. It is sexy as hell. Tailored suits, phenomenal wearing with. This is the type of suit for a man who doesn't need to be loud, but he needs to be lethal. That's what the king is in this particular scent profile for me. And De La Nuit number 3, it does it. In spades. King on his throne. De La Nuit number 3. Gentlemen, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. This was me just telling you my second iteration in the volume 2 of the C.R.O.W.N series, talking about Roja Parfums. As I always tell you, these aren't just fragrances, they are power moves, they are precision plays, and they are strategically selected scents to move you across the chessboard and of life. For me, Roja Parfums is one of those brands that really hits it out the park. The first brand I did in this one was the Scent of Bodicea, the Victoria brands. I think that went off quite well. You guys enjoyed that one. I hope you enjoyed this one, because this C.R.O.W.N series is one that it speaks on to me the authority of each fragrance. The pawn is poised, momentum of the creation E fragrance or Enigma. The knight is the daring ability to change up, which is the Manhattan fragrance. The bishop is one in its spiritual elegance, has a great scent from Aoud. The scent of the rook, Great Britain, it's a stoic strength inside that Great Britain. And then the queen, the majestic and seductive scent of Diaghilev. It's one of the most phenomenal chypres that I think anybody will ever smell. And then the king, with the power and mystique of De La Nuit number 3, you get a phenomenal entrenched leather, seductive spice, cumin, alpha male scent. And so these scents are curated to invitations to be remembered in evenings, declarations of complexity, command, and of class. Love the way they went off. You know, with the sweetness, with the depth, with the presence, they all spark desire and admiration. And in the game of chemistry, confidence, and character, aroma makes the first impression at scale. And I love saying that particular part right there, because it's something that just came to mind one day, and I think it always should be something impactful, because to me, that's one of the statement makers of a scent. You want something to be at scale. You want people to remember you, and more than one. You want many to remember you. And always remember this: scent is memory, collecting its legacy, and community its culture. And we here at the Dry Down, we don't just wear fragrances. We embody strategy, we embody taste, and we embody elevation. Stay balanced, stay bold, let's keep enhancing. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.